Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm like, in insane multitasking mode right now, but hopefully Bobby and or here's Rody. Hey, what's going on, man? Hey, what's happening? You there, Rody? Hold on. Talk again? Wait, you disappeared again. I'll let you in. Hold on. Rody, you there? Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in kind of.
It's live, guys. What's up, guys?
Yeah, you could lead it because I'm in like insane like multitasking mode. I'm busy. I have to update the NBA projections, but they start in like an hour. I have to get those going, and then you got to sweat like the last 20 minutes of this 2-game EPL soccer slate, which is happening, which is really important, obviously. And then we got horse racing. I promised everybody I was going to do a horse racing video, so I'm finishing the analysis for that up. So we'll as soon as we're done here, I'm going to put up something for horse racing. It's full on Sunday DGen City. Before the key is to like have to win like the $1 million to break even for the day. That's the key to the Super Bowl is to put myself in a good hole in NHL, NBA, horse racing, League of Legends, PGA Showdown, all of it, so that we actually need to win the Super Bowl showdown slate to break even. And I think I'm heading there. I got to check on my golf. Golf was really just right on the cut line. Was a little annoying. I presume you did too, but Cantlay was a kind of an annoying non miss the cut dude.
What was annoying is he was freaking 5 over, and then he came back to 1 under and had two chances to get there.
Oh, I know.
And I have some beautiful lineups with him in it. I'm 27th in one of the big tournaments with Cantlay in the lineup, which obviously.
And then like this is something that unfortunately I've become like kind of used to now, is the sweat in the 555 when you only have 5 for 6, and you're barely hanging on to the cash line. You know what I mean? And you know that like all of the holes are going to catch up to you, so you have to just pray for the end of the tournament just to come. Like couldn't come soon enough. I'm in 192nd and it pays 251. So I'm just like praying for this thing to just kind of for everybody else to kind of collapse here and me just kind of hang on for exactly 251st. First, let me tell you what action I have in the Super Bowl. And then we could talk about the Super Bowl if you want. And while you guys hopefully lead that, I'm going to start working on the NBA stuff. And I'll let you know if I end up winning the soccer. So I did something like 2 days after the line came out. This was I couldn't believe this when the line came out. I actually saw Philly at -2, and for whatever reason, I thought that Philly would end up being like 4. I just thought that everybody would just all the money would just pile onto Philly. And I'd be getting this great middle. I could take Kansas City. I didn't have an opinion on the game literally at all. All I was sure about was that people would just bid up Philly and it would be 4. So I took Philly -2, basically calling the top. Like I'm like the only one who's laying a full 2 with Philly in the entire United States of America. I guess I underestimated like how much people just keep playing Mahomes. So that's where I'm at. I literally have no opinion on the game as far as who's going to win. So I'll leave that stuff to you. But one thing before we get going, I just have to shout out, and we'll do more of this during the course of the week. I want to shout out Adam Perry. So he, obviously he's been one of the guys that have been there right from the beginning for us, and one of the real sharp learners. You know what I mean? Like that's the way I like to put him. And he learns every day. He asks a lot of questions, and he's kind of, I don't want to say following my footsteps in the wrong way, but he's embraced like a lot of sports, and plays pretty much everything and has a process. And, with all the NBA and all the stuff going on, a couple of weeks ago, he joined me, chopping up the showdown slate in football. That was his biggest cash. But now last night in the MMA streets, he freaking chopped with like one other person in the big lottery for over 100,000. So just insane, just great for him. And and listen, he's just like me. He's not wasting any time. He's up playing the LEC slate today with first prize like $200 or whatever the hell it is. So listen, that's what I like to see, people learning and applying what they're doing. And listen, obviously anybody that cashes, I'm happy for, but I'm not embarrassed to say he's like one of my favorites. You know what I mean?
And I actually think that is like as an out, like, because I'm not saying it about myself, so I can say it about you guys. There is a similar, like, he does have like a approach of really wanting to learn and get better at everything, rather than trying to find the right play every day. You know what I mean? Give me a good play that I can throw in with all the chalk. He's not that guy, and he really did learn how to get better. Huge shout out, great guy, and he's done a few of those. We did the roundtable shows. I've talked to him before about these things. He's just a really good dude and well deserved. Couldn't be happier for anybody to win that, especially if I win the million today. I would say
yes,
everybody for the million, because I wasn't playing that one, so I couldn't be happier for anyone. But congratulations, Adam. I'm really happy for you, buddy. Anyway, so Sheets has got doing his things. Rody, we can jump into this. First of all, Rody, let's talk about your thoughts on the game. What do you like here?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. I'm just trying to find some pieces and dig and dive, and what looks pretty good. I think there's going to be some scoring. But I mean, maybe people forget about the defense and the kickers a little bit because they think everyone like, oh, Mahomes are going to score touchdowns, blah blah blah. Eagles are going to score, But like, you're going to have to use some of these cheaper pieces. So like, really, how you fit them together with the main guys, and if you want to fade a QB or you want to fade, Kelsey type of thing, like how to build these lineups. So I really think there's going to be some points scored in the game. I hope it's a really good competitive game today. I do like KC a little bit. I've always sided with them. My cousin, the right tackle plays there. So there's like, I get a lot of people around me rooting for KC too. So everyone's like asking me who I'm rooting for. I think the Eagles have a very good team. I think they got good weapons. I like Devontae Smith. I like AJ Brown. I like, Dallas Goedert. And Eagles have a complete defense. They have a defense that's been, holding them in games pretty well, like keeping it down, good pass rush. So we'll see who wins the day, but I think there's going to be some points scored. I think some deep passes hit maybe, and it might be the difference maker, might be the turnovers in the game. So we'll see. That will be the outcome of the game. Hopefully, like the turnover or something, and changes the game for one of the teams, I think.
Yeah, I mean, so like just to go through a few things, I don't think that so like Patrick Mahomes, and I think his whole career has only lost 3 games. He's only played 3 games that they've lost by 3 or more points. Just throwing that out there. So this is a weird one because I've been obviously before the season I was talking about the Eagles, just how they're more talented at every position basically than everybody else, and it was really about how Hurts does this year, and obviously Hurts has been unbelievable. So I'm struggling with it a little bit. I am taking Kansas City. I would just say Kansas City money line. I think they're going to win the game, and it's not the right way of looking at things, but it is sometimes the way I look at it. It's like, if you look back in a bunch of years, so I think Mahomes is the best quarterback of all time. And I know that sounds like a weird thing if you take a 5-year period. Tom Brady was never unquestionably the best quarterback for a 5-year period. Neither was Peyton Manning. Neither was Joe Montana. Neither was Dan Marino. Neither was anybody else who's considered the greatest quarterback ever. Mahomes is the only unquestionable one where he's been the best quarterback ever since he started taking snaps. I find it, I don't see him losing this one. I really think he's going to get it. I think it's going to be a close game, and a close game I think really does favor, KC. I do feel nervous because I feel like I'm having flashbacks to the Tampa Bay Super Bowl where I know it's a totally different offensive line. The line's much better, but you'll know quickly, I think, whether or not they're going to be able to do much with this pass rush. The Eagles pass rush is awesome. Really good all over the field, great linebacking core. Like, they're just loaded every which way. If they're able to find a way around it, and I think they will be able to, I think they'll be okay. If not, I could actually see it turning a little bit ugly the other way, and a little bit like that Super Bowl against Tampa. That's my only nerve-wracking thing. So I kind of I like the Eagles plus. I like the Chiefs to win. I like the Chiefs +2. But it's like if you could hike a line up to -9.5 or something, I think the Eagles are kind of an interesting bet in that sense. You know what I mean? Like I think if one team destroys the other, I think it's more likely to be the Eagles than the Chiefs, which feels weird to say, but I do feel that way. Getting into the DFS of it, and I just got a call that I might have to return. So whenever Sheets has a minute, I'll let you guys take over for a minute so I can take this and then jump right back on. Yeah, sorry, I'll take care of this. Anyway, so Sheets, how far away from getting you back on here are we? Because unfortunately I have to get that one.
Yeah, I can take over.
I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, I'll tell you what I'm doing in DFS. This is going to be a really, really offbeat take. I'm playing Jalen Hurts in the captain. I think he's a really good play. I think that he's a really good offensive player. I think that it's going to revolve around him, and I think KC has a tough time stopping people. So I hope that nobody gets onto that idea. You know, maybe Hurts might be low owned in the captain. Maybe people will forget about him. Maybe people think that Minshew's playing or something like that, and they won't play him. But that's my bold take is that I'm playing Jalen Hurts in the captain because I think he's a really good player and it's a good play. So this is what you come here for, like these types of really really offbeat takes that you're just not going to get elsewhere. Now I will say this, okay, that if you listen, if you take the stand that if you put say Hurts in the captain, okay, and play enough lineups, what you're then doing is getting just a bunch of combinations. You know what I mean? Like that's one thing you can do. Like so you could say I just went on for like my usual rant about not my usual rant. I just basically said that Jalen Hurts in the captain is a good play, Bobby. I don't know if you were present for that hot take, but listen, I'm gonna be playing like 100 lineups probably, and if I would basically just lock him in, like even in the captain, what that does for me, yes, it gets me chalky at that position, but it gets me just oodles of combinations. like of everything else. So if you get that it's hard to get to like say the Quez Watkins Zach Pascal combination. You know what I mean? Like for example, or like the Pascal with the Clyde Edwards-Helaire run back or something like that. Like some ridiculous thing that you would never play otherwise, unless you get to like say the 80th lineup, and I'm never going to get to that combination. If I'm if I'm using like, a pretty good, like AJ Brown in the captain, great play, right? Devontae Smith in the captain, great play. Miles Sanders in the captain, great play. Kelsey in the captain, great play. All these
get Sanders there.
I think these are all good pivots, whatever. But those guys, then you don't get like all the, all the no shot combinations. And I think the no shot combination, you have to have some of them. There's going to be 8 million people playing this tournament. So I'm taking the stance that I'm going to have Jalen Hurts in every lineup and then the rest of it just going to hope I get enough combinations. That's my DFS take of the day.
Yeah. I hear you. Okay. So I'm on a very different page than you are. I think this is the exact kind of a game where you want to try to this is the kind of showdown game where you dream of, because like you have 700 different options. Yeah. There's really no need, in my opinion, to play overly chalky things. Now you could play a chalky captain. That's fine because you're going to have a lot of scoring out of Hurts and Mahomes. But like, I don't think, you can't get all the spend ups in unless you use a cheap guy. So I will be using some of the cheap guys. Also, there are a ton of guys in this game. Like, there's like 17 guys that could score. Not that all will score touchdowns, but like you could make an argument for so many guys to score touchdowns. Between these two teams, I think they have the most number of guys who could actually have a big play at a cheap cost, because they spread the ball around in KC so much, and because Philly has 3 running backs, and it's hard to tell who's better. Every week Gainwell's the popular one, and then Boston Scott has a big week, then Boston Scott's popular, then Gainwell has a big week. The guy who never has a big week really is Miles Sanders, except for like once or twice a year he'll have the big week. But he's the one everybody always wants to play. And the weird part is, like, I'm going to talk myself into him today because no one's going to play him. But there's just so many options that I'm spreading out a lot with some of the junky guys, and I actually think there's upside. The question is, can they get you enough? Like if Fortson or Pascal by far the least interesting to me of all of them. But Fortson, Noah Gray, Quez Watkins, the cheaper guys. I have a bet on Jody Fortson to score a touchdown today.
Let's go.
So I'm going with that. And
we got to remember, we want to talk about props because I don't have one of my own, but I have one from the Maven. I have one from Matt. I have one from Matt the Greek that we could talk about.
Okay, great. We should talk about that in a little bit. But I really like the idea of including some of these the Watkins for one big play, the Fortson for a touchdown. The just keeping one of these guys in your life. Like no one's playing Fortson. I think people will play some Noah Gray. And people will play some Quez Watkins in their main builds because if you look at your builds, you kind of want to find that value-y guy. But I really like the idea of mixing it up, and that's sort of my overall take is get exposure to these guys if you're multi-entering. Play the Noah Grays, play the Pascals, just be overweight on these cheapies with upside because I do think there's a really good chance that some of these guys really are on the winning lineup. I really like the cheap weird plays more than I normally do. The only problem you run into is like, will 7, I guess it would be like, let's say 7.5 from Jody Fortson. Will that be able to be enough? Yeah, you're saving all the money you could spend up on everybody else, but is that going to give you enough to get there? And that's the only part I'm sort of struggling with. But I still think I'm going to lean on playing these guys quite a bit. I also think that the kickers are really in play, especially I like Butker better than I do Elliott because I see Philly going for 2 a lot more often than I do see Kansas City doing it.
That's a good take. That's a good call.
And I also think that Devontae Smith, is trending in the right direction. And I actually think that it's for good reason. He's sort of become the better receiver, but that's partly because A.J. Brown's been doubled. I kind of think it goes back to A.J. Brown today. So I'm siding a little more with A.J. Brown over Devontae. Really like both of them, but I think that Devontae is getting a little bit more. A.J. is just getting a little bit more love than Devontae. Devontae's getting just a little bit more love than A.J. or even close. I think we should probably play a lot of A.J. today. Other guys want to mention real quick. I do think I didn't say it on the cheap ones, but like throw Justin Watson into a lineup. Like you want to include these guys because it's like Watson can actually have a game. Like there is a path for that. We saw all the receivers get hurt for KC a couple of weeks ago. Why not? And I'll get into the main plays in a minute. But Rody, what are some of the ways you're going to get a little bit off the board today?
You didn't even mention the best guy, Jack Stoll, second tight end for Eagles.
There you go, the backup for the Eagles.
$600.
Couldn't catch a pass
before you get into that, I want to just throw kind of a conceptual idea in there that I started talking about into the playoffs. Okay, so we're playing Showdown, we're trying to play Hooters or whatever, but this is the Super Bowl, right? How much are these teams really going to look for these other guys? This is not like experimentation time. This is not whatever. I mean, how many snaps and how much stuff and how many routes and all this stuff.
KC does the same thing every game. It's the same thing for KC. They do this all the time.
Well, then that's one thing. The other thing I would also mention is that also because you have 2 weeks to prepare, you could create some stuff. This is going to be what we're going to get there. But I think, listen, and this would be, I'm not going to let this beat me considering everything I've said about the guy. This is like a perfect game or perfect situation where they just scheme like 3 touchdowns for Kadarius Toney. You know what I mean? Like coming out of like all kinds of like the throwback passes and the reverses and all that crap, So, on the one hand, teams like to go with their top guys, but on the other hand, you got 2 weeks to prepare. You could do some funny stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Tony's, definitely a part of their big, whatever. They're looking for him for big plays anyway. So I don't mind that. I don't mind any of that. But I do think that like these are not like other pieces. Like KC runs 3 tight end sets all the time. They're not going to change it now that they're right. They're not going to be overly looking for Kelsey in an obvious spot. I actually think that Kelsey is like of the spend ups, like probably one of the best fades. I really believe that they're not going to let. Well, you know what I say that, and then I'm just going to take a look at his ownership real quick.
Dude, meanwhile, it's on. I have to share my screen here.
Okay, we got to finish. I never get to finish a thought.
Finish your thought.
I don't even remember what it was. No, I'm just kidding. I just think Kelsey, like, I think Philadelphia is going to be prepared, like, and they're going to make other guys beat them. I really do. And to say, okay, that doesn't mean that Kelsey's not going to have. And by the way, that might mean Kelsey has 10 catches for like 60 yards. Had that one big play that the week against not the Bengals, the week before against why can't I think of the name? Anyway, but everybody acted like he just smashed, and I'm like, the guy's first 10 catches were for like 50 or 60 yards. And there's a way that they let them have that. I think KC is going to be all over Kelsey. And I'm sorry, Philly's going to be all over Kelsey. He's still going to have catches. He's still going to end up, on a lot of regular flex things. He's just a guy I'm crossing off for my captain, and I'm going to try to be underweight the field significantly in tournaments. I like the idea of trying to marry myself to one of the other KC receivers. And I actually think Sheets mentioned it. I think Tony is a very, very good option for that. Sheets, go ahead. Sorry, man. Just messing around.
No, I mean, you guys all want to win the $1 million, but I mean, let's really get to what's important here. So hold on. We're gonna share my screen. And dude, we are in really good shape in this freaking soccer single entry. Okay, like we are in first place. Okay, we're fading extra time here. We're 15 points ahead of everybody except for this guy with Neil Mahone. So we just need, and his dude that he needs to score is Luis from Avila. So we just need to fade him, and we can take down all the cheese.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think you're good there.
Now we can get back to the winning the $1 million, but you know what? Something's got to pay for these entries. So,
I hear you. You say that every time you put and you win. Yeah.
So
I love it.
I'll unshare my screen.
That's a lot of players that you have. I didn't even realize. I have to look more into soccer at some point. I'm just going to follow Sheets and Adam Perry around and see what I can catch in the leftovers.
And O2.
Yeah, and it's great. And Orange shape. Yeah, absolutely O2. I've got a piece of everybody today, by the way. So I hope that it's a team through the FSA. So let's do that on Stake Kings first of all.
Do you have anything left on yours?
I think I don't know. Actually, I haven't looked.
I'm gonna find out right now.
But I do.
I'm thinking of throwing in a bigger buy-in one.
Yeah, do it. I did want to ask though, so in terms of priorities, for you, Rody, skipping the spend up and all that talk, who are the guys you're heaviest on, or you're going to be heaviest on? I know you haven't built your lineups yet, but who do you think you'll be heaviest on? What are you looking at?
Actually, I built quite a few lineups. I've been kind of the last couple of days kind of getting some game scripts in my head, and then I'll figure out I'll go build 5 lineups that I really like. And I'm really liking as I build some of these lineups, like you said, Tony, and I like, Dallas Goedert, I got a lot. And some of these Juju Schuster, I like these guys' price today a lot. I mean, you can get a lineup with a lot of studs in the lineup. I think playing both quarterbacks is what I'm going to be doing. And, to play a Tony captain, I can still get Goddard, A.J. Brown, and Schuster in that lineup. And to me, that's all the main pieces in the game. And I really like that lineup. I just gave away a really good lineup, but, that's one I might play in a high-dollar lineup. It's just got more pieces. And then you can then just take that same lineup and swap a couple guys out, Instead of that, you got, Goddard, Elliott type thing, and then throw Kelsey in that one with Mahomes and Tony captain or something like what Sheets and Bobby said earlier, guys. Just take an idea and then kind of just make some pivots with it, or Sheets want to do Hurts in the all captain and then make all the pivots. You can take a couple of these cheaper guys I like to do that too with, and build 5 lineups with different pivots that Smith and Dallas Goedert and Travis Kelce and Juju and some of the guys that I really like today. And then it mix in Elliott and Butker and Eagles defense and Chiefs defense, I think are going to be lighter played today. And I think maybe getting one of those in there with those guys still gives you the good points. And then you have to beat the $600 Jack Stoll 1 catch last week for 1 point, or the last game he played, and then hope he just doesn't get it in the touchdown for the 7 points to beat the defense or beat the kicker, So, but I like building these little balanced lineups.
I have Stoll as if I'm going to use junky whatever guys, I have Stoll as the worst one. And I'm just curious where that one came from, because I don't know. He might not play many snaps, right? He might run maybe 2 or 3 routes the whole game. So I think I'd rather take somebody else than Stoll if I had to, right?
I mean, he got a
That's
catch
just-
last time.
He had a catch. He had a catch last week. I mean, yeah. I mean, I would rather take. I mean, the guy started 7 games and couldn't do anything, or 6 games was it maybe? Whereas you have guys like Fortson and Danny Gray and Noah Gray, who have both scored multiple touchdowns this year, who are both a part of the actual offense. So I just personally would say that I would rather side with those guys. In fact, Noah Gray has had a catch, I believe, in every game this season. He's a little more expensive.
True. Noah Gray has caught one. He's not a lot of points, but he's getting one every game.
Fortson is a guy they'll use for their little goal line play.
Fortson has more upside because he's got the touchdowns on the, like you said, the goal line.
They'll use him.
Why he's a little bit more viable than, I mean, he's cheap. He's like 200.
Yeah.
But I mean, like anything can happen. Goddard could get hurt. Like, like he's the guy that's coming in behind him. Dallas Goedert plays a lot of snaps. That's why he's, like he's like another guy that I'm high on today because he's getting the ball. Like he's gonna get, like they dump it to him a lot too. Him, Smith, and Brown are really the offense, and he's got 5 catches last week. He's averaging about 5-6 catches at least. With some upside to 9 in the 100-yard game. So hopefully. So yeah, I mean, I'm not playing a ton of Stoll, but it's just another guy to throw in there, I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
So my main, I'll give you my exposures, especially the like cheaper guys. I have, and obviously this is not going to be particularly earth shattering here. Oh shoot, I gotta get this. Sorry.
I can get ready. Roddy, let me ask you: in your builds, are you getting 3 3s, 4 2s? How do you think that's going to shake out?
What's that? Sorry,
3 3s, 4 2s, in which favor of which side? You know what I mean? That's what I'm sort of like looking at. Like, I think it's sort of natural to like play 4 KC and because you can play Hurts, and then Hurts, can take up so much of the actual production. But I don't know. I'm trying to find other ways to go. So I'm kind of curious to both of you guys whether or not it's 3 3s, 4 2s. Are you getting to any 5 1s? Are you anything like that? And in which side that you're playing?
I did a Hurts naked captain with a couple 5 KCs, but that's just random. But I'm more the 3-3 balance today, or more the 4 2s. Like I'm no 5 1s really, besides like something crazy like that I had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I was going to do a 5-1, I think I would play Hurts as my 1 on Philly, and that's the way I would do it. But I don't even like that much, and that's just hoping that Hurts sort of takes over everything. Look at this. Rody's got kids popping in. I got people calling me, telling me they need me right away. Sheets has got calls he's got to go on. We're all bouncing all over the place, but I do appreciate Sheets and Rody.
I'm telling you, this is a busy day, man. I got all kinds of stuff going on. But let me go over some exposures at least. So and none of this is like particularly earth shattering, but I have like almost 40% Quez Watkins. I mean, at that price, yeah, at that price, you have to have it. And then I have 25% Noah Gray. I mean, you mentioned him. And then the usuals, AJ Brown, 40%. I have like 1 billion percent Hurts, 1 billion percent Mahomes. Actually, I'm like with the field on Mahomes. I have like 65% Mahomes. I have like a carload of Goddard. And unfortunately, I mean, I have just a lot of just Philly stuff, more so than KC stuff. I have like 25% Pacheco. That's again nothing. I mean, that's probably with the field, I guess, right? I mean, it's probably what he's going to end up being. Yeah, I don't have that much McKinnon. This is where I'm probably you can't have everybody, right? So I only have like 10% McKinnon. That might be the downfall, because he can obviously, do it. I mentioned Sanders. I have a bunch of that actually. I have like 30% Sanders. So I guess the theme here is that my showdown stuff is like very Eagle heavy. Just not because I had an opinion on the game really. That's just the way it just all worked out, I suppose. I guess it's because we don't know exactly which way the Mahomes stuff is going. I have a whole bunch of Mahomes naked. You know what I mean? And
I like that too. Yeah.
And that's been something you could do like all year. It's less likely to be that important to do in a showdown though. You know what I mean? Like if you could almost argue that it's not as good of an idea in the show because you don't need 3 touchdowns from one guy. You know what I mean? Like if you get Mahomes and then he gets 1-1-1 to all 3. I mean that's you want those receivers if you want to know the truth. And I also have to say that the other guy I don't have. I mean, I don't have this Fortson guy. So we'll just see. We'll just see what happens, I guess. I do have some of both defenses. I do have some of both defenses and both kickers. But yeah, so I guess that's the thing. I mean, I don't have much Fortson, and my builds are pretty Eagle heavy, and my builds are leaving just all kinds of money on the table. In the Millie Maker. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. All right. So Rody, how about you? How about some of the overweight, and I'll go through my guys and overweight, underweight in a minute, but guys you're overweight on the field. I know we've talked about a bunch of different ones, but and then the guys I'm more interested in you with guys that you're underweight on.
Yeah, probably more underweight. I'm like AJ Brown, Jerick McKinnon, Isaiah Pacheco. Those are the guys. I'm heavy on Smith, heavy on Kelsey, heavy on Dallas Goedert. Building like that a lot. I've usually been lighter on. I do have a couple Miles Sanders captains, but then I'm lighter on him as well. But I think the running back is good leverage, so I'll probably add a little bit of running back captains is where I'm a little bit less of. A couple there, but yeah, I'm pretty heavy on the other things. A lot of Juju and Tony and less on MVS. I think MVS had a big game last week. I think a lot of people are going to flock to him. He stepped up big late because of the injuries. They had a lot of guys out. And I think he didn't do much all season besides that, but maybe they had a couple weeks off. Maybe they add him more to the offense this week and let him play after he had a big game. But I'm lighter on him and probably Brown is the most. So that's kind of where I'm at there.
Yeah, and then I think we need to address the biggest thing before. I'll do my guys in a minute, but what the hell are we doing with the Philly? The fact that none of the running backs are projected to be owned very much in this game is kind of weird. Nobody above 25% of any running back? Is that possible? Anybody?
Yeah, they use all 3 of them.
I'm asking anybody. It's a little weird. You don't see that on showdown slates where you have 5 running backs that you can. I mean, I don't know. I personally, everything in my logic says Pacheco is going to have a big day today. But I thought he would be much more popular than McKinnon. He's not really. If he's that low owned, I'm going to end up overexposed on Pacheco. Yeah, I don't know. And then with the Philly stuff, it is really hard. I would say you could probably just take the lowest owned, but they're all kind of low owned. So I don't know what to do here with the Philly guys, and that's where I'm. It's a lot of you could win or lose this slate based on these things. But Boston Scott, Gainwell, and even Sanders, none of them projecting for much ownership. All very reasonably priced. One of these guys or 2 of them score seems like every week, and it's never Miles Sanders. So what are we doing here, guys? Any thoughts here on this one? Ready? You got a little visitor.
I do.
Yeah, I like Miles. I think in the end, I think the Eagles are going to go with the Miles Sanders. I'm just back to my thing about just eventually just relying on the best players. And I know what you're going to say. Are you sure that Sanders is the best player?
You know what I mean? I'm not even Miles Sanders. I don't know. I'm not even sure. I don't know. I hear you, but I'm trying to for devil's advocate purposes. Do we even think he's necessarily the best running back on their team? Or is he just a starting running back? That's what it feels like to me. And it's tricky because you see that the numbers are all skewed because they've blown everybody out because they haven't faced anybody tough so far. So maybe they do go back. Maybe they do go to Sanders and Sanders, for all the things, it's going to be Hurts inside the 5-yard line anyway. These guys are all going to break a play to get there. But Sanders is he can break a play. I hate his lack of pass catching. It really, really irritates me. I think I would say Gainwell I think Gainwell might end up being my favorite. But boy, I'm having a little bit of a hard time with the Eagles guys. Brody, do you have? I mean, what is your lean between those three?
You said Sanders, Gainwell, and Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't mind mixing them up. You know, I all during Showdown all year, I play a lot of double running back stuff. So like, you know, like maybe, you know, I do have 4 Miles Sanders captain ones, but I'm more on him. I probably fade the other two. I just don't know if they're going to do enough. I think Sanders, if they do, they get him the work. He's been the guy all year for the 1,000-yard rusher, you know, so like he should be the guy, but they've used these other guys all the time. That's why I'm a little worried that each of them, like Gainwell, could come in and catch 4 or 5 passes, get you 7-8 fantasy points too. So, which he's projected for 7.5, I think. So that's about, you know, what he gets. So like if he just gets in the end zone, he's got 12 to 14, and you could use that at, you know, but he is priced up to 5K. So it's not like he's a 2K guy we're adding in, or a 3K guy. So, and then Scott's a 3K cost too. So like their cost is up a little bit. So that's kind of why I'm under on them, is just because their cost is up a little
throw
bit.
out there, like if you watch the San Francisco game, I believe Gainwell had the full second series, and I believe Boston Scott had half of the third series and split it and then Gainwell and Mike Sanders split the rest. I actually don't think Sanders is playing any more than these guys. I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, in general, like lately. But again, it's tricky because of the blowouts. But even in the first half, they were going to Gainwell pretty quickly, and then they went to Scott pretty quickly before that. So it's really tricky with the Eagles. I guess if I'm siding with the other guys because they're going to be lower owned. Maybe that's why I'm a little biased. But I want to real quickly I'll go through the highest, everybody over double digits, and say whether I'll be over underweight. These are not real numbers because there's no way Jalen Hurts is only going to be 52% owned in the flex. Like he's going to be 95% owned, and so will Mahomes. And somehow people will find a way to do the rest. But Mahomes and Jalen Hurts will be in nearly every lineup of mine. Kelsey, I'll be well underweight. I like Devontae Smith so much, but I probably will be slightly underweight Devontae Smith, overweight AJ Brown, underweight Dallas Goedert, which really scares me. Underweight Smith-Schuster, overweight Butker, underweight Elliott, underweight McKinnon, overweight Pacheco, overweight Tony, probably near the field with MVS. Miles Sanders, I'll probably be slightly below or right near the field because he's still not getting a ton of ownership. I'll be off of both defenses today. I like the Quez Watkins and my man Brooklyn Juice jumping into chat. Good to see you, my friend. Everything's going in the right direction now. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. But I do like the Quez Watkins idea today and Sheets has got 40% of them, and I've got like 10% of Sheets. So hey, somebody, that means I got 40%.
Hold on just a second. So first of all, I wanted to say that I just went on, and this is going to be a shameless plug. So for those of you who have not signed up for Stake Kings as like a staker, I just went on to hold on. We're gonna do this right. So I went on to the board here, and Bobby is posting just like all kinds of shit today, and I'll give you guys like 2 seconds, maybe 3 minutes to get in here and get the rest of it, or I'm just going to take all of it. Actually, there's not that much more left, so that's fine. But here, the power sweep, he's got 264 left here. This is just my standard, $24 and 24 cents. It's my tribute to his love for Kobe. So I always go for 24. But this is the Super Bowl, man. And this is a good way to dip your toe into these things. And he's playing all these different contests. And if you don't have enough already going with your freak, I mean, I have like all these boxes I have that I have to track today, like all these.
Right.
And the boxes and stuff, but I would get in there and get a piece. Are you posting anything, Grody, today or no?
Yeah, there'll be 2,000 plus coming on the page sometime this afternoon.
Okay, I'll get on to you, Grody, then after that too. And I've been on ice cold. I've been ice cold with basketball lately. I was not ice cold with football. I was not ice cold with the other thing. So don't count on that. And also, like I was one idiotic Cantlay play away from possibly having a shot to win this golf tournament because I've got like 4 guys in the top 5. That's rough. Anyway, all right. Other things to touch on. So those are my overweight, underweights for the guys. I would include some Sky Moore and Justin Watson in your builds. Sky Moore probably a little bit ahead of Justin Watson, but honestly, I could see either of those guys scoring. And the thing with Sky Moore is like Sky Moore by the end of the day may turn into Marquez Valdes-Scantling. That's always a possibility. You know what I mean?
Right.
And here you have him so cheap and unowned and everybody's going to play MVS, which makes sense because initially that's not the way it's going to go. But they will use all these receivers. Mahomes, out of his first 14 passes, I believe 10 of them were to different receivers last week. They're going to use these guys, and you can break a play with Sky Moore, and Justin Watson's a big enough target to catch a big touchdown. So just something worth considering with all those guys. And also, I find that on these showdown slates that the ownership projections are really, really hard to trust, because in reality, like I said, it always is like Hurts and Mahomes at 50% each. There's no way in any world that's happening, right? Sheets, like, it's going to be, these guys are 90% plus.
Yes.
Rody, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree.
All right. What else should we touch on before we get out of here? I'm going to finish my bills and then go to my family's for a big barbecue. I've been doing the non-drinking thing. I'm getting back into shape. I've been healthy. I've had a couple. I'll like drink like maybe once a week at most. But today I'm having some drinks and having some fun. I did a carbless month. Anyway,
I've got all kinds of doctors like back to back next week. Nothing urgent or whatever. Just stuff you get to look forward to, like in 10, 15 years when you like turn 50, 55, whatever. Nothing I can't handle. Just kind of stuff that only people my age will realize that you have to deal with. I mean, like how many people like Rody? Do you have like a cardiologist? No, right? I mean, like. Well, you get
I actually do.
Oh, you do? Oh, wow.
You're
more on top of that, whatever. Like, you got.
I'm supposed to be getting healthy too myself, so.
Yeah, but I am actually healthy. I mean, I go to my doctor's house, but you know what? It's funny. I didn't think about this. I didn't appreciate this. My in-laws. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like this doctor. This is like really all we do is we go to doctors now. But they're like older, whatever. But like as you get older, I've been telling you, I'm looking at my calendars, and where 15 years ago my calendars was. Am I going to play the 100 rebuy today, or like this to today, or I'm going to play this? Now I'm like, which doctors do I have here? I could never play freaking multi-day poker tournaments anymore, because it's like a doctor's appointment that's like filtering in like some of those days, So it's so it's not that I can't play poker because I can't play anymore. I literally don't have the time because it's a doctor's appointment. It's always just kind of going to get in the way, So but it's good to see that you're getting healthy, and you know what? After you win the $1 million today, Bobby, maybe tomorrow I'm going to get to, instead of reading the FL magazine up on the top left, it'll be Life magazine.
So what do you mean? Because it's backwards.
Yeah, it's not right now. Right now it's FL. It's FL to me.
Oh, because it's always going to show backwards on screen. What am I supposed to do? Put it upside down?
Yeah, I mean, I can't read FL magazine. I mean, you gotta fix that somehow.
That's pretty funny. Sheets, for what it's worth, can you record at 1 tomorrow by any chance? I have a thing in the morning. I'm so afraid it may run late.
Monday? I can actually.
Oh, okay. If we can do it,
I'm good tomorrow. Perfect. I'm good tomorrow. Wednesday, the aforementioned we'll talk about the aforementioned doctor's appointments when we have them all squared away. But yeah, everything's fine. But I'm good for I'm good for recording tomorrow. Live I might not be, because I think I'm going out with Ashley for dinner.
Cool. I'm in business. I'm good for live.
Okay. What are you doing for the Super Bowl today, Bobby?
For me, for my lineups.
No, for your
family. We have a giant family thing out in the valley, so I'm hopping a ride up there with a friend, and we're gonna go up there. It's gonna be a big group. It's gonna be about 70 people. So because there's some
Jesus Christ,
there's gonna be definitely some COVID.
But with your crew, like 70 people is like just like Tuesday night dinner. You know what I mean? Like,
you know what's funny is that's actually not that far fetched. Before COVID, that would have been actually an accurate statement.
Oh my God.
I'm not kidding. It's really nuts. I mean, especially at my family's house, because they've got a big property and like everybody else just sort of congregates there. That's funny though. Don't be no fresh person. I'm good with Tony as a captain as well as a get weird play. Sheets and Rody, thoughts on that? Tony as a captain. I actually think that's the kind of play I could get behind today.
I think he could score 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I have him in one of my. I think in one of my sweep lineups. It fit really well. I really like the lineup. So
there you have it.
I think he could score 2 touchdowns, and 2 touchdowns wins. Here's the other thing. Oh, props. You got a favorite prop? Because I got one. I want to share.
Oh, I like the Jody Fortson touchdown.
Oh, I was thinking of something more like offbeat, but
that's an offbeat one.
Oh, I meant like national anthem stuff, and I meant like national anthem stuff, and you have anything?
I didn't look at the timing on the national anthem and study it. This is one that I win every year that I've ever played it, but it's usually just a bet with friends. No, I don't. I didn't see the national anthem. What's your? Give us your weird one.
So this is coming from Matt. Okay. Now I can't confirm this is the line, but he says it is. And I don't even know where to exactly play it, but apparently you can get plus 140 that the Super Bowl MVP winner uses the word God in his interview.
Why is it plus 140?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's his favorite one. I don't know exactly where you can get it, but he
MVP winner. So it's got it. So basically, you're talking about most likely Hurts or Mahomes.
Hurts or Mahomes to mention God in their interview.
That's one I have to look into.
Yes, yeah, so I don't know exactly, no idea where to find it, but that's what I've heard
right now.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Spoke about his faith on opening night. Okay, so Mahomes seems like he's likely to say something. Let's take a quick look here at Hurts. Hurts religion. It's pretty funny what you could find. I mean, there must be something about how he's not religious. They don't say much about Jalen Hurts' religion.
I mean, it's not possible that they give them instructions that not to mention religion in your speeches, right? That's
they've always been
right. No, I know. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, here we go. Mahomes has already been thanking God all over So really, this must be an Eagles bet with your hope that somehow I don't know. That's a really funny one. That's what
I would also like to say. I want to ask what. So here's the thing. What are the odds on Jalen Hurts winning the MVP? Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. Adam Perry, you got it here. He put it in here.
Oh, it's got to be God first. Okay. So MVP props, the winning player is most likely to first mention God over their teammates. Okay. Yeah. See that.
Right.
Likely to mention their teammates, then over God. Okay, I got it. That's a really good point. I actually kind of like the City fans for plus 900.
Plus 900 that's a lot.
You parlay that with a Philly victory, though, I think, because I think it's much more likely to happen for Philly than it is for KC.
Well, but this is what I was going to ask. If you have what are the odds on Hurts winning the MVP? Just like straight up, like right now. Like
I don't think I probably like what even-ish.
Well, I mean, can't be even, right? I mean, like they got to win the game first. That's like.
Well, they're favored though.
Right. Oh, you think it's only even money just to win the MVP? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's very, very unlikely that a player outside of Mahomes or Hurts wins the MVP. It's possible. I think it's very unlikely.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, I was going to say is I think there are three people who win MVP. It's either Hurts, Mahomes, or Kelsey. I think those are really the only three that have a chance.
I think you could throw AJ Brown or Devontae Smith in the mix in case they have a big enough game.
You think so?
It's possible, yeah. Against this Eagles, the Chiefs.
But my point,
one more name though. If you're going to make a bet on a thing, they both Chris Jones and Reddick for Philadelphia. It could be one of those weird, like you might see like a 6 or 7 sack, like or 4 sacks and a fumble or something if things go the wrong way for Philly. So maybe that's something like that could happen. That's the only thing I can see, but that's probably like 50 to 1. Okay. Anything else before we get out of here, guys? I'm going to start building my things. Rody, any other thoughts that we maybe didn't touch on?
I just figured I would throw in I know you guys aren't playing it, but just to let you guys know, everybody who's playing the NBA, I did upload projections. It locks in 9 minutes. So if you guys want to play that, it's 2-game NBA.
Wiseman is out.
What's that?
I got the update that Wiseman is out.
There you go.
MJ asking about Gray and Watkins together. Yeah, it's a long shot. Yeah, absolutely. That's fine. I'm siding more with Fortson than Gray today, but I'm probably going to be over the weight on all of this. You guys heard me do my over-under, guys. I'm under on most of the guys who are the most popular outside of Mahomes and Hurts, and especially Kelsey. All right. With that said, all right, Rody, give me a hot take for the game. Give me a score. I'll do a score first, and then I'll because we have to, come on, put some pressure on ourselves. I'll take Kansas City. I'll go with a really weird score. I'm going to go like, well, no, it's not even a weird score. I'll take Kansas City 31-30.
I don't have to do a score, do I? I can just do a hot take.
Sure.
Kansas City wins the coin toss and wins the game. Take that on DK. It's like
you get that bet. What's the juice on that?
Plus, like, I don't know, 300, I think.
Oh, okay. How about I wonder if you can mix in like the defer or not on that one. I wonder what they would do. Actually, that's kind of interesting. Sheets, hot take, or game score.
Let's go with the ugly Americans. I'll go. How about we'll do Eagles 34-10. How about that?
Whoa!
Oh, wow!
Someone just said they bet big in the chat on the Eagles. 5K.
Yeah, look at TJ with a 5K bet on the Eagles. All right.
I actually, again, full disclosure. I mean, I have to root, unfortunately, for the Eagles because I have this stupid bet locked in from when I bet earlier in the week.
Yeah.
But it's like it pains me to. It doesn't really pain me. I'm a grown man now. It doesn't really bother me. But I'd rather not root for Philadelphia if I can avoid it. I can't avoid it, unfortunately. So I'm rooting for my DFS lineups. I'm rooting for all these freaking boxes. You know why I'm rooting for
I got a lot of boxes too.
Well, because the boxes, the only box ones I'm in are like these charity boxes. And even though they take like 50% out already, I always like just donate it back, even if I win. So I'm rooting, but like, well, not as hard as I otherwise might. Yeah.
It's gonna be a fun one, guys, and I appreciate everybody being flexible on time today. I don't think there's any more questions. Again, this is the kind of Super Bowl I actually want to watch. The only problem is I don't have anybody to hate. I like both these teams quite a bit.
And I got one more thing I'll let everybody know if I have a golf sweat later. Yeah. But you know what's a really, really good really good feeling? Really good feeling when it's like a hockey slate and you have like almost zero Edmonton and they have 0 goals midway through the second period. So that's a good thing to have going on. That'll do it.
Yeah. Good to see you, WW Fresh. Good to see you, everybody in chat. We appreciate you all. Again, another big shout out to Adam Perry for absolutely crushing and couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Rhodey, take us out of here.
All right, guys. As always, the last football game of the season. Let's